Thank you for listening to Discovering the Scriptures with Dr. Peter John. Currently, we are in Daniel chapter 7, verse 24. Reading first from the King James Bible, quote, "And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall rise after them. And he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings." Unquote. Now, I want to read this into context for you, because we are looking at end times prophecy, last days, for Jesus' return. So let's go through this. The paragraph is Daniel 7:23, and it goes all the way through 7:27. So in King James Bible, quote, "Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down, and break it in pieces. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall rise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and shall subdue 3 kings. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until the time and times, and the dividing of time. But the judgment shall set, and they shall take away his dominion, to consume and to destroy it unto the end. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom. And all dominions shall serve and obey him." I'll read you the last verse of this chapter, 28. "Hitherto is the end of this matter. As for me, Daniel, my cogitations must trouble me, and my countenance changed in me, but I kept the matter in my heart." Unquote. So there's the context. So let's look at this verse again. Verse 24. "And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall rise after them. And he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings." Now, I want to go ahead and look at this verse now in the Young's literal translation. Quote, "And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings. They rise, and another doth rise after them. And it is diverse from the former, and 3 kings it humbleth." Unquote. Okay, so there is our 2 that we're going to be looking at to study. Okay, let's go ahead and look at this now. Daniel, I'm going to cross-reference this in this verse. The cross-referencing here, the words the 10, so the 10 horns, and then the word and another shall rise after them, so another. Let's look at these. The 10, we're going to look at Daniel 7:20, Revelations 12:3, Revelations 13:1, and Revelations 17:3, 12, 13, 16, 18. I'm going to read them all for you. And then we're going to read another. And what this says here is that it's pointing to the papal theory supreme, and every respect diverse from the former. Now, we have these 10 kings, and I don't think it's worth trying to guess which 10 kings these are, because you can have different perspective on these 10 kings in the way that you were either brought up or under persecution, or what part of the world, and it's not worth it. Who cares who these 10 kings are? It's evident that we're in the last days. So who are these 10 kings? Does it matter? They're done. And another shall rise up after them. Okay, is that the Pope? Let's find out. And he should be diverse from the first, and should subdue 3 kings. I don't think so. I think this is talking about someone even more wicked than these 10 kings. But let's read these cross-references and see, because I'm diving into this just like you. Let's find out what you come up with, and I'm going to see what I come up with. Here's the evidence. The 10, Daniel 7:20. Quote, "And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows." Unquote. So there we have what Daniel has written on this and has used before. Okay, that's very important. We want to look at how the writer has used this before. Now, let's go ahead and look at Revelations on this, because Revelation is also written by John. It's written in Greek, and it deals with the last days also. So let's read this and see if we can find anything out here to try to find out who are these people. Revelations 12:3, quote, "And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads." Revelation chapter 13, verse 1, quote, "And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy." Unquote. Revelation chapter 17, verse 3, quote, "So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman set upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns." Unquote. Revelation 7, verse 12 and 13, quote, "And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast." Unquote. Revelation 17, verse 16 through 18, quote, "And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. For God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree, and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of God shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest in that great city, which reigneth over the kings of the earth." Unquote. So you see here, we don't know what these 10 kingdoms are. We don't know, are they in the past? Are they during this time frame with the beast? Are they conquered? Do they work with him? It doesn't give us enough. Let's go forward. Let's look at another. Okay, reference Daniel 7, verse 8. Quote, "I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots, and behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things." Unquote. Now Daniel 7:20, quote, "And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows." Unquote. Now we're going to look at Daniel chapter 8, going from verse 9 to verse 12. Now remember, Daniel was writing this original verse that we're looking at in Aramaic. Now he switches over in chapter 8 into Hebrew. He's still the author, so let's take a look at this. Daniel 8:9 through 8:12, quote, "And out of one of them came forth a little horn, which waxed very great towards the south, and towards the east, and towards the pleasant land. And it waxed great even to the host of heavens, and it cast down some of the hosts and of the stars to the ground, and stamped upon them. Yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host. And by him the daily sacrifice was taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down. And the host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression. And it cast down the truth to the ground, and it practiced and prospered." Unquote. Now let's look at Daniel 11:36, quote, "And the king shall do according to his will, and he shall exalt himself and magnify himself above every god, and shall speak marvelous things against the God of gods, and shall prosper till the indignation be accomplished. For that is determined shall be done." Unquote. Now here is some more writing from Paul on this. This is 2 Thessalonians 2, verses 3, going all the way through 10. Quote, Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposes and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things. And now ye know what withholdeth that he might be revealed in his time. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work, only he will let until he be taken out of the way. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all his power and signs and lying wonders, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of truth, that they might be saved. Okay, looking again at Paul's writing in 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 1 through 3, quote, Now the Spirit speaketh expressly, that in that latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils, speaking lies and hypocrisy, having their conscience seared with a hot iron, forbidding to marry, and commanding to abstain from meats, which God hath created to be received with thanksgiving to them which believeth and know the truth. Unquote. Now that's all the cross-references that we have in these verses. Now, I wanted to point out a couple things here. In this one here with 1 Timothy, it says that some will fall away from the faith and given seducing spirits and doctrines of devils. We have that today. We see that with some of the TV evangelists who have this prosperity gospel that they preach, who basically make you treat God as though he's your servant, and you can command anything out of him because he promises that you will prosper. And they take verses out of the Bible out of context. They don't study it well, and they present it, and they have some serious blasphemy, big time. You can see it all over the airwaves. If they're telling you that you need to prosper and that you need to take these promises and hold on to them and tell God, watch out. Now, I could express these people's names, but they're not worth it at all. And to give them any kind of glory at all is terrible. But if you see that these people are preaching prosperity and not preaching the cross of Christ, you need to stay away from them. Okay, now let's get back into this Bible study here. What we have here is we have these 10 kingdoms, which I don't think is going to do us any good at all trying to guess who they are. It does us no good. So what we're going to do now is we're going to parse these verses and see what is Daniel trying to convey to us. Okay, so let's just see how he's writing this. How is he writing this sentence? And the 10 horns out of the kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall arise after. Okay, what do we have here? The first, and here we go. He's still being very matter of fact. And shall subdue. Okay, so this one here, he's talking exactly the way it is. This will subdue. So this king here will do this. He's just laying it out like a newscaster who's good. Shall subdue 3 kings. He's not really being, passive about this writing. He's just telling us the way it is, to how he saw it in his vision. I looked at it, in the Bible just to see if I could get anything more out of how he's writing this. And the first part of this verse, he is just passively telling you what's going on. The second part of this verse, he's acting just like a newscaster. So this is basically laying the foundation of what he's about to get more into. Now again, I said I have looked at the commentaries on this. And I had tried to make heads or tails to see if, if there's so much there that they're agreeing on, and I can't come up with the 10 kingdoms. So, not where I'm 100% sure. So I refuse to name them. All we know is that they have already come and gone, or that they're going to be here with the beast and then give, all their allegiance to him. All we know is that those 10 kingdoms don't matter at all. We just know that they're either have been part of history or they're going to be part of the problem. So if we see 10 kingdoms giving themselves over to a man, that would be the Antichrist. So if we see that happening now, we would know that that's the Antichrist that they're giving their alliance to. So if we see it now, watch out and be aware. If it's the past, well then we still got the Antichrist, which is supposed to be worse. We will not know until it is more revealed, especially here in this verse. It doesn't give us enough. But we are told that people will fall away. We are told that by Paul. So be careful. When someone says that they are God, you know that God never said he was going to come on this earth at all. And Jesus said that when he returns, every eye shall see. So you won't see it in the temple. You'll see it coming in the clouds. So unless you see that, I don't care who declares who they are. So yes, the interpretation of Jesus' birth, all the experts were wrong. But we do know that the Antichrist will be in the temple and he'll be declaring himself God. And that's not how scriptures point Jesus' return. And also does not point that God will be here like that. So be careful. Now, this is where we're going to lay off on this verse now. You're going to stay tuned to the next verse to see where it goes with this. Does Daniel give us more? And we're going to have to find out. Right now, I'm of the opinion that those 10 kingdoms could either have been in the past and they don't matter, because we know we're in the last days, or they're going to be 10 kingdoms that give their whole kingdom and themselves over to this Antichrist in this last days today. So if we see that and someone's in the temple declaring themselves to be God with all these great signs and wonders, then watch out. So stay tuned. Stay on your guard. You can make up your own mind on this. Are these the 10 kingdoms in the past? Is it Nebuchadnezzar? Is it Rome? Is it the Pope? Is it Roman? Is it who? We don't know. But you can speculate if you want. To my opinion, it won't matter unless we see 10 kingdoms giving themselves over to somebody in the temple who declares that they are God. Otherwise, these 10 kingdoms in the past, it doesn't matter, because everything points that we're in the last days now. God bless you. Please keep me in your prayers in this ministry. We are going neck to neck with Revelations now. So we're going to do Revelations and one verse of that and one verse of this now, each time, because that's what the Lord told me to do. So I'll be doing Aramaic and then Hebrew, and then in Revelations I'll be doing Greek. So it's going to be a challenge and fun. And if you like this, please hit the like button so I will know. Also, hit the subscribe button and the bell button below so you can be notified of more coming. And please tell your friends so they can go ahead and come on here and subscribe. And please hit all the ads you can when you're on my channel. It does help provide a stipend for me. I'm getting roughly just over $400 a month right now. It does help because I have switched over. Well, I actually am switching over in my job wise. So I'll have more time. So I won't be working and killing myself. I'll be selling insurance and doing my ministry. So, and jewelry. So please keep in your prayers. God bless.